Hey there, and welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place you come to get, really informed beyond the headlines.
Yeah, cutting through the noise.
Exactly. And today, we're digging into something, well, really fundamental if you're into manifestation. It's Bob Proctor's Law of Gestation.
Proctor, yeah. I'm the secret law of attraction guru.
Right. And this law, it's key, isn't it, to understanding why things don't just pop up instantly.
Absolutely. It's the reason behind the waiting game.
And it teaches you how to build that patience, that faith you need for the big goals.
It really does. And, for anyone on that spiritual path, maybe familiar with Neville Goddard too.
Oh, yeah, good point.
This idea of gestation is just crucial. It's not just wishing. It's about the actualizing part.
So what's our mission today? What are we pulling out for you?
We're going straight to the source. Proctor's core ideas on this. How to apply it, really apply it.
With his own words, his examples.
Exactly. Direct quotes, the whole deal. The goal is you walk away knowing how to handle that waiting period. That sometimes frustrating wait.
Okay, let's dive right in then. Unpack this. What is the law of gestation, according to Proctor?
Okay, so at its heart, it's pretty simple. It just says that everything, like everything, needs a certain amount of time to grow before it shows up fully.
A fixed growth period.
Right. Proctor called it the period of time it takes for formless energy to come into form. He used seeds a lot.
Seeds,
Yeah, for every seed, he'd say, there is a set gestation or incubation period. A specific time it needs to follow its, internal blueprint.
To become the physical thing.
Exactly. It's just how creation works, a natural development process.
So, okay, seeds make sense. But what about our goals? Our ideas?
Yeah.
How does this connect? Are there, real-world things we can look at?
Oh, definitely. Proctor loved using really clear, undeniable examples. Think about a human baby.
Right, 9 months.
About 280 days, yeah. 9 months gestation, that's fixed. Or a carrot seed takes what? Maybe 10 to 12 days just to sprout. These aren't like suggestions from nature.
They're rules.
Pretty much. They just remind us. Different seeds, different timelines. You can't argue with it. There's an order, and you got to respect the process.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting, right? When we talk about our goals, our dreams, because there's a big difference between a baby's due date or what's on the seed packet and the timeline for, say, starting a business or finding a partner.
That's the crucial distinction. Absolutely brilliant point. Our goals, our ideas,
Huh?
they're like spiritual seeds.
Non-physical.
Okay, spiritual seeds. And the thing is, their gestation periods, we usually don't know them.
Ah, so it's unknown.
Largely unknown, yeah.
Yeah.
Which means sometimes things can manifest super fast, like bam, it's there.
Or it can take a lot longer than we hoped.
Exactly. Both are possible. Instant manifestation, delayed manifestation, it varies.
But the law itself gives some assurance.
It does. It assures you that if you've planted that seed correctly and you're nurturing it,
Doing your part.
right, the result will come. Eventually. Once its cycle is done, growth is happening. Proctor stressed this even when you can't see a thing.
Under the surface.
Precisely. As long as you keep tending to those seeds, it's the universe doing its invisible work.
Okay, so there's always this gap, this interval, and often we don't know how long it is. So what does Proctor say about handling that? How do we manage ourselves? What about patience?
Patience and faith. He said they're non-negotiable. Absolutely essential.
Okay.
His advice was, when you have a goal or intense desire, have patience and believe in the end result.
Believe in the end result.
Yeah.
Even when you see nothing.
Especially then. It's easy to be excited at the start, right?
Yeah, the initial burst.
But keeping that optimism, that belief, going through the quiet phase, the gestation period when nothing seems to move, that's the key. That's what separates the people who get there from those who, give up.
And he had a really specific take on patience, didn't he? It wasn't just like sitting around twiddling your thumbs.
No, not at all. That's such a critical point. He redefined it.
How so?
He said, patience is not the ability to wait, but the ability to maintain faith and keep a positive attitude while waiting.
Maintain faith and a positive attitude while waiting.
So it's active.
It's very active. It implies you trust your goal is coming, you stay upbeat, grateful, focused on what you want.
Even with zero proof.
Exactly. And that leads right into faith. Faith in yourself, sure, but also faith in the unseen forces, the universal laws.
Like vibration and attraction.
The idea that everything's energy, attracts like. Proctor reminded us, good thoughts and actions can never produce bad results.
Like planting carrots gives you carrots.
Cannot give you anything else.
Oh.
So if you've sown the right seeds, positive thoughts, feelings, actions, then good results have to bloom immediately. It's law.
Okay, so knowing that law helps fuel the patience.
Totally.
Yeah.
It fortifies it. Okay, I'm doing my part. I'm nurturing this seed. It must show up. It's just a matter of time. Universal law says so.
So it's like keeping that inner fire going, that desire. Yes. He'd say fall in love with your goal. Keep that emotional fire burning bright.
Fall in love with it.
If you fall in love with your goal, you won't fail, he said. Maybe not exactly when you want it. That's the gestation.
Right, the timing thing again.
But if you keep internalizing it, feeling it, acting on it, you will succeed. It's inevitable.
So it's faith plus action.
Steady, aligned action. Keep seeing the result in your mind, feel it, act like it's on its way. Tend to it every day with expectation.
Not anxiety.
Not anxiety, expectation. Don't keep digging up the seed to see if it's sprouted.
We'll get to that metaphor. It's a good one. But this leads to something really comforting, he promised.
Yeah.
That when it does manifest.
Yes. It will feel right on time.
Right on time. Even if it took years. How does that work? Because, someone might be listening who's been waiting ages, feeling despair maybe.
And that's so real. Proctor knew that struggle. He'd say, just because you haven't achieved a goal yet doesn't mean you won't reach it.
The only failure is giving up.
That's exactly it. The only time you fail is if you quit. Don't carry old disappointments forward, he'd warn. Maybe the clock was just still ticking on that last thing.
So instead of abandoning the goal.
Maybe just try a different approach, a different way to water the seed, perhaps. But don't give up on the seed itself.
And when it finally does click, that breakthrough moment.
Yeah, often when it finally happens, things fall into place really fast, surprisingly fast sometimes.
Like suddenly it's all there.
Right. There's that saying, when it's time for your desire to manifest, it doesn't take long. You wait, you tend the seed, then boom, almost out of nowhere.
And Proctor connected that to the laws.
He did. He'd say, there are universal laws in play here. You just have to learn to respect and honor the process and have faith that your goal will show up right on time.
Right on time. That phrase, it suggests, looking back, you'll see it couldn't have happened sooner.
Exactly. You'll see the waiting was necessary. It was perfectly timed for everything to align, for you to be ready.
That's a beautiful idea. But man, it is tough. In our world now, instant downloads, next day delivery.
Oh, it's the biggest challenge. Instant gratification culture versus universal law.
How do we bridge that gap? How do we internalize this patience?
Well, the farming analogy he used is just so grounding. Think about it.
Okay.
A farmer plants in spring. They know they harvest in autumn, no matter how much they want corn in July.
Can't make it grow faster.
You can't force corn to go from 60 days to 25. It's impossible. The law of gestation says life, our goals, it's the same deal.
Trust the timeline.
Trust the natural timeline. Instead of fighting the wait, see it as part of creation, necessary. During that time, Proctor said, our journey is always under construction. Things are shifting, arranging themselves.
Beneath the surface.
Exactly. He even admitted it himself. He said, I did not achieve all my goals last year, but I know I will.
Wow. Even Bob Proctor.
Even him. And that confidence came from understanding this law. He knew his goals were just gestating, cooking. They'd show up when ready, right on time.
Okay, let's talk about that metaphor you mentioned earlier. It's probably one of his most famous. Don't dig up your mental seed in mid-growth.
Ah, yes. So vivid, isn't it?
It really is. What does that mean for us, practically? What does digging up the seed actually look like day to day?
It means stop sabotaging yourself.
Yeah.
Stop messing up your own manifestation with impatience or doubt or just being wishy-washy.
Okay.
Think about a real seed. If you keep pulling it out of the dirt to check on it,
It's going to die.
it's going to fail. Same thing with a goal. If you're constantly second-guessing it or, chasing a new shiny object every week,
You disrupt the whole process.
completely. Proctor saw it all the time. People undermine their own success because they just don't stick with the vision long enough.
They bail too early.
They bail when they don't see instant results. They don't let the universe do its thing, that unseen work. Successful people get it. It takes time to manifest dreams into reality.
So what are the specific ways we interfere? How do we accidentally dig up that seed?
Well, there are a few common ones. First, just constantly worrying or checking. Obsessively checking for results.
Refreshing the inbox, checking the bank account.
Exactly. We've all been there. But that worrying, that constant checking, Proctor said it comes straight from doubt.
It signals you don't really believe it's coming.
Precisely. You're sending out a vibe of lack, of it's not here yet. There's a great line from a coaching blog. If you keep pulling the seed out of the ground to see if it is sprouting, you slow the process down and have to start over again and again.
Ouch. Start over.
Yeah. So instead of digging it up anxiously, you got to water it with faith.
Okay, so worrying and checking is one. What else?
Mixed signals, sending contradictory messages to the universe.
How did that happen?
Like, you visualize success, but deep down you're terrified of failure. Or you say you want X, but then next week you're thinking maybe Y is better.
Changing your mind constantly.
Yeah, that inconsistency, it messes with the energy, the frequency you're sending out. It's like planting a seed, pulling it up, planting a different one. Nothing takes root.
So the antidote is holding the vision steady.
Steady,
Yeah.
consistent, clear.
And the third way we interfere, the third pitfall.
Giving up too soon. We touched on this, but it's huge. Proctor was so clear. The only time you fail is if you give up.
If you're still in it, you haven't failed.
You're just still in process. Think about all those stories, breakthroughs happening right after the darkest point when someone almost quit.
Right when they were ready to throw in the towel.
Exactly. So Proctor's advice wasn't necessarily keep doing the same thing if it's not working, but find a better approach.
Tweak how you water the seed.
Yes. Water it differently if you need to, but don't dig it up and chuck it out. Avoid these traps. The worry, the mixed signals, the quitting, and you align with the law. You let it work.
Like trying to force a rosebud open.
You kill it. You have to let it unfold. Let your dream unfold in its own elegant time.
Okay, so this unknown timeline, it's just part of the package. We have to accept it. But how? How do we really deal with that uncertainty? It breeds anxiety for so many people.
It does, and honestly, it's meant to be a bit challenging. That unknown factor for our spiritual seeds, it's kind of there by design.
By design,
To make us grow, it forces us to develop real faith, what Neville Goddard called loyalty to the unseen reality.
Loyalty to the unseen. I like that.
It means you have to walk in faith before you see the proof. Like a pregnant mother trusts the baby's coming, right, even months before she feels a pick.
Okay, that's a powerful image. But what if it takes years? Decades even. That's a long time to walk in faith with no visible signs.
It is, and sometimes it does take years. Sometimes it's quick. You just don't know the schedule.
So Proctor's advice is just stay ready, keep the faith regardless.
Pretty much. Keep the faith, stay aligned, stay ready. It will show up right on time, he'd assure us. And remember, right on time is from the universe's perspective.
Not our impatient human one.
Exactly. We label it late. The universe just calls it time. It's about trusting that deeper divine timing.
And there's something really powerful about seeing that wait time, not as empty space, but as preparation time.
Yes, that's a fantastic way to frame it. Use the gestation period to prepare.
How so?
Improve yourself. Gain the knowledge you'll need when the goal arrives. Build the skills. Refine your plans. Get your house in order, literally or metaphorically.
So you're not just waiting, you're becoming.
You are actively becoming the person who is ready to receive that goal, and more importantly, to sustain it. Proctor taught being the success first. Before you can achieve it, you have to become it.
That inner shift, that's part of the gestation.
Absolutely. Maybe the time lag is actually giving you the space you need to grow into the version of you who can handle the success when it lands.
That makes a lot of sense. And Neville Goddard had similar ideas.
He did. He'd reassure people the wheel of fortune is always turning, even if you can't see it move. Once you've planted that seed in your imagination.
Assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled.
Right. You must not disturb that seed, he promised. Anything that is impressed upon your subconscious mind will eventually birth itself into existence in the physical plane. It's that same certainty.
It really is striking how consistent these core ideas are. Proctor and Goddard, coming from slightly different angles.
But arriving at the same truth about this interval, this gestation.
So how did Goddard talk about it? You mentioned seed time and harvest.
Yeah, that was his primary metaphor, much like Proctor's seeds. Seed time and harvest implies that necessary gap. For Neville, planting the seed time, was that moment you successfully assumed the feeling of your wish fulfilled. In imagination, you felt it real.
Okay.
And then comes the harvest time, but in between. A period where nothing seems to change on the outside, but inside, that seed is taking root in the subconscious.
And his advice was the same. Don't mess with it.
Don't dig it up. Exactly. Don't disturb it with doubt or impatience. Once you've done the imaginal work, felt it real.
You enter faithful expectancy.
That was his term. Relax into it. He said, when you are self-persuaded this is now a fact, relax in the vision's gestation period. There is an interval of time between impregnation and birth.
Impregnation and birth. Strong language.
Very. And he'd quote the Bible, "Every seed has its appointed hour," which lines up perfectly with Proctor's right on time.
Plant, wait, harvest, due season.
It's the natural rhythm.
Okay, so but there's a waiting period. But what about the how? How do things actually happen during that time? How does the manifestation unfold?
Ah, the mechanism. That's where it gets fascinating, comparing them.
Yeah,
Neville talked about the bridge of incidents.
bridge of incidents. Okay,
A series of events, often seemingly normal, maybe even unexpected or strange.
coincidences.
Could look like that. But they form a bridge, leading you straight to your manifested goal. He taught that if you hold on to your assumption, the world literally rearranges itself.
Wow, and Proctor's take. Law of
Uh-oh.
attraction.
Similar outcome, slightly different language. Proctor, influenced by Napoleon Hill, Earl Nightingale.
His mentors.
Right. He taught that holding the vision, that clear mental image charged with feeling, acts like a magnet. Through the law of attraction, it draws the necessary resources, opportunities, people to you.
So one talks about the world rearranging, the other about attracting things in.
But the core idea is the same. During that unseen gestation period, the seed is actively drawing everything it needs to bloom. Things are happening, connections are being made.
So faith is the key during that invisible process.
Faith is the bridge. Neville literally said that. Faith is the bridge between the seed time and the harvest. Proctor would absolutely agree. Faith is the soul of that active patience during gestation.
Okay, this has been incredibly insightful. Let's bring it home for everyone listening. How do we take all this wisdom about the law of gestation and apply it? Like, starting now, what are the steps?
Right, let's make it super practical. Based on Proctor's teachings, here's a kind of checklist.
Okay, let's hear it.
1. Plant a clear seed. Set a really clear intention. Know what you really want. Don't be vague. Clarity is power. Decide what you really want. Proctor hammered this home.
Step 1, clarity. Got it.
2. Nurture the seed with positive attention. Like watering a plant. Give your goal regular positive focus. Visualize it. Affirm it. Feel it. Take small steps. Keep your energy, your vibration high. Daily mindset work is key here.
Step 2, nurture with positivity. Makes sense.
3. Have persistent faith and a good attitude while waiting. Remember Proctor's definition of patience. Faith plus positive attitude. Even on bad days, choose expectancy over frustration. Your attitude actually influences the speed.
Okay, persistent faith and positivity. That's the active patience.
Exactly. 4. Take inspired action, but don't force it. Act on those intuitive nudges, those ideas you fall in love with. That builds momentum. But know the difference between inspired action and desperate, impatient pushing. Trust the flow.
Inspired action, not forced action. Okay.
5. Resist complaining or focusing only on what is. Don't let your current reality kill your vibe. Complaining about lack just affirms lack. Focus on the vision of what's coming, not the current empty space.
Focus on the vision, not the void. Good one.
6. Celebrate small signs. Notice any little bit of progress, any synchronicity. Acknowledge it. Be grateful. Those are the green shoots. Gratitude keeps your vibration high like spiritual fertilizer. Feel grateful even before you see proof.
Gratitude is fertilizer. Love that. Okay, what's the last one?
7. Hold on until harvest. Simple but crucial. Don't quit. Stay committed. Remember Proctor's confidence. I know my goals will be achieved. He wants you to feel that certainty. If you stick with it, the law guarantees the result. Work while you wait. Keep tending that seed. As long as you don't uproot it, it is growing.
Wow, that's a powerful framework. This whole deep dive into the law of gestation, it really feels like an antidote to our impatient world, doesn't it?
It really does. A reminder that everything worthwhile takes time. Every dream has its season.
Just like nature. Appointed time for seeds to flower. Appointed time for goals to manifest. Rushing it, doubting it, just gets in the way.
Totally. And for anyone just starting with conscious creation or maybe feeling stuck, this law is so important. Don't let the silence fool you.
The magic is happening underground.
Exactly. Your job is just to keep believing, keep tending that vision until it breaks through. Remember Earl Nightingale, Proctor's mentor?
Yeah.
He said, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Progressive realization. That implies time, growth, gestation.
It's built right in. So if you're listening and you've been waiting on a goal,
Yeah.
maybe feeling that urge to dig up the seed.
Easy card.
Yeah. Stay focused. Keep the faith. Know that it will become real when the timing is perfect.
As Proctor would say, hold the image. Keep your thoughts and actions aligned. And please, don't give up before the miracle happens.
The law of gestation is working for you. That dream is growing. And when it arrives,
You'll know. It'll arrive right on time.